What's going on, guys? Happy championship week. Anybody? No G's back here? I'm the only one? No, but just so excited for our players. On pins and needles through Saturday night into Sunday morning. Just so proud of our team and what they've been able to accomplish the past 2 weeks to find a way to get into this championship game and have a shot to go play for a championship and bring this trophy back to Boise, Idaho. So hats off to our players, our staff, and just so excited that we're back.
Did you get the chance to share the news with the team?
I didn't from a timing standpoint, so we were just able to send it out. We were able to text our whole team prior to it coming out and then send the media post. We didn't get with our teams a little bit later yesterday.
What was their reaction to making the championship game?
Oh, they're so fired up. I mean, all Saturday, our players are calling me and text me like, Coach, talk to me again about these computer rankings. You're like, what's exactly going on here? They're a little bit confused with kind of how some of it goes down, which I get. And so they were same as me, ready and hanging on every tweet, everything that came out about, the potential of the game and what was happening. So I know when it came out, I think around 9 o'clock yesterday, our team was fired up and ready.
And what was the energy like in practice this morning?
Oh, so we don't practice on Mondays.
Okay.
So Mondays is all meetings for us, and just this is our players' day off. So it's more just us as a staff. But I know our guys coming through, watching film on their own, just like they've done the past 2 weeks, though. And that's the thing that we talked about yesterday. Is yes, it is championship week, but that doesn't mean you deviate from the process that got you here. No one needs to overthink it. I don't need anyone to put a Superman cape on. Let's just continue with our process. Obviously, continue to find ways to do it better. But our guys went in here excited, watching film, and we'll be ready to go.
Spencer, this is a ring game. How aware is the group of that? You get a ring if you win it.
Oh, it's big time. I mean, our senior class has been through so much, John, and especially 2.5, 3 weeks ago, no idea what the future held, no idea if there was anything after the end of the season. And now you put your head down and work, and you do it together. And we're about to play in a championship game on Saturday. They're very aware of what that means, very aware of the fact that we haven't won a championship since 2019. Played in it last year, didn't win it, and so I told my guys it was awesome playing in it. Nobody cares. You go to that game to win it, and our team, our seniors are very excited for the opportunity to go bring that trophy back to Boise, Idaho.
So just to clarify, you found out shortly before the release went out? Like how long before were you able to tell them?
Not long before. I promise you that. I found out, and we were able to get it to our players. We're talking minutes. So it was quick, and it happened, and I was excited and fired up, just like our teammates were.
After everything, you kind of along those lines, just to be in this game now, just 2 weeks ago, like you said, it didn't look like it was going to be possible. What can you say about the resiliency of this team that I guess hasn't already been said?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, first off, you guys know me. Thank you, Jesus. I went to sleep Friday knowing, like, God, you are in control. But just the resiliency of our team, not only on the field, but more importantly off the field, with the amount of things that have pulled at our team and could have easily been reasons for us to fray and for people to go their separate ways. This team has not done that. And that is a testament, once again, to our players and to this staff. And I think the world of every single person in this building, and they prove that every day. And so that's where, when getting the news that we're playing in a championship game, my heart was filled with joy because of these players deserve it. This staff deserves this opportunity, and we're excited for it.
How much fun is it just kind of lean into all this? I mean, there are some coaches that really lean on the control, we can control, but it seems like everybody's just kind of embracing like a pretty cool moment right now in the last couple of weeks. No
doubt. It's an awesome opportunity with our players for this community, Jay, and especially when you look back and see, like I said a couple weeks ago, when things didn't feel like this, when there was a lot of different feelings around the Boise State football program, and now playing in a championship, these seniors that have done so much for this place, so much for me, now get an opportunity to go bring this trophy back home. It just brings my heart so much joy. And so soaking up the moment, obviously, as you're working your tail off to prepare, because obviously, I know we'll get to it here in a second. UNLV is a phenomenal opponent. They deserve to be in this game, and we know they'll be ready for us as well. But just taking a moment even yesterday with our team to, just thank them for the work they put in. And then also understand, hey, guys, I asked you for 2 weeks. You handled business those 2 weeks, and now we got another one. You deserve it. So now let's make this our best week. And our team's excited to do that.
Spencer, when you look at film the last 2 weeks, specifically when it comes to X's and O's football, how do you see this football team different?
Mike, I'd say the biggest thing is that there's obviously some schematic stuff that we've been able to tweak, some techniques we've been able to focus on, but our team's playing fast right now. Once again, testament to them, testament to our strength conditioning, testament to our trainers. So that's a holistic group effort to make sure, and once again, testament to our guys, making sure they're going to sleep on time, taking care of their bodies. So, but if we're looking at one thing the past 2 weeks, it has not been perfect schematically, it has not been perfect across the board, but our team is playing fast. We are on the attack in all three phases. That doesn't mean it always works out perfectly, but our team is on the attack, Mike, and that's something I'm very proud of, and that is built in the mentality of what we're going to be in all three phases.
You mentioned UNLV. How crazy is it that it's been since 2019 since you guys have faced them? Like, that was a lifetime ago, it seems like, with this program. And does that present a unique challenge, not having faced a program in like 4 years?
Yeah, just like any week, although it is a championship game, it's still another week. It's another game that we're going to go through our process as a staff, offense, defense, special teams, to go through it. And we've obviously looked at them throughout the year because you have common opponents. You know, they played Air Force, they played Wyoming and some teams. So we've been able to see them as we've gone through. So aware of who they are offensively, defensively, and special teams. But obviously playing a team for the first time with a new staff that's done obviously a phenomenal job in all three phases. They have weapons across the board to be able to exploit you. It's one of those things that we're very excited for the challenge. So is our team. You work your tail off for 12 games to get an opportunity to play in a championship. Our team has done that. They deserve it. And we know UNLV feels the same, so can't wait for Saturday afternoon.
Spencer, you look at last season, and I think the San Diego State game was a turning point, right? Taylor's first start, Cutter's first game as interim OC. You guys rolled from that point. This year, you're 4-5 after the loss to Fresno State, but you guys have won 3 in a row. Can you pinpoint a turning point in this season right now?
I don't know if there's going to be one moment, Ron. I do know that through adversity, our team's gotten even closer, which shows truly who you are as a team. Because when you go through adversity, like we've been through the past couple weeks, you find out who your leaders are. You find out how much you truly love each other. Because like we talked about last week, love is action, love is sacrifice. And you could say, oh, I love you, but if there's no action to match that, if there's no sacrifice to match those words, then you're just blowing smoke, right? So our team being through some of the adversity, I mean, after the Mexico game, head coach gets let go. There's a lot of uncertainty. Our team, our leaders, our captains came together, and there was no flinching. There was no hesitation. It was like, Coach, we're doing this together. We got your back. Let's go to work. And then all of a sudden, we're watching Utah State film 2 hours later. That's a testament to this group. So was it just that moment? No, I think it's always been in them. That's who this group is. That's who these players are. But I'm excited now that people can continue to see that in a big way. You're seeing it now on a big stage, what we've seen for a long time, and they deserve all the they deserve all the credit they're getting now because that's who they are as people, that's who they are as men.
Is there a different feel to the championship game when you haven't faced them? Is there a different preparation that you have to do maybe that if you had played somebody before? Just the vibe of playing somebody for a first time versus a second?
You know, I think whenever you play in a championship game and it's the second time you played them in a season, which we've had to do a lot here with our title runs, it's just it results in different issues because you're trying to think, okay, what are they going to do? We keep some of the same game plan? How much do we change? How much do we evolve? When you play someone for the first time in a championship game, like we talked about, it's 1 week. This is what we got. This is the preparation we have. Obviously, as coaches, we've been able to do some background work into it, but at the end of the day, we got 1 week. And we're going to work our tail off to have the best plan for our players. There are, if you guys want to take a walk down that hall upstairs, our guys are in there studying film, prepping, so they can have the confidence to play the way they want to on Saturday. And so we're going through our process, Bob, no different than any other week. Obviously, fully aware of what is at stake, fully aware of why these players came to Boise State. You come to Boise State to win championships. And them being able to have that opportunity this Saturday absolutely fires me up. They deserve it. And so playing someone for the first time this year, regardless, it's this week, and this is what we're focused on, it's championship week.
Have you had time to reflect on the fact, and I don't even know if you're aware of it, but you're only the second interim coach to ever take a team to a conference championship game. Just to be able to do that, what does it take as a coach to really be able to pull these guys together?
Yeah, I mean, you guys know how I'm going to answer that. Someone told me that the other day, and I was very, just excited. But I'm excited for our players because, guys, they deserve all the credit. Our staff deserves all the credit. And I know I'm beating a dead horse when I answer these questions, but that's truly how I feel. I'm blessed to be around them. And like we talked on Friday after the game, I was crying almost the entire time going through senior night when the seniors were walking the field because of how much they've impacted me. So when I'm able to see them win these games, I'm able to see them earn the right to play in a championship, that's right where my heart goes, because that's why I do this. That's why I coach, is for them, to impact them. And so proud of them and our staff. They deserve a shot to win a championship. And we're going to go down there and work our tail off to handle business. So that's right where my mind goes. It's cool to hear some of the stats about these things, but that's not what motivates me. That's not what wakes me up and gets me fired up in the morning. It's about these players, it's about these kids, and it's about bringing that trophy back to Bronco Nation.
Spencer, I know, kind of feels like a weekly update for you, but the coaching search has become pretty transparent with what Boise State is doing, and they're talking about in-person interviews and meeting with people and getting really close to identifying the finalists. I'm just curious, is there any update on your status as you continue to pursue this vacancy, obviously?
Yeah, Jay, me and the leadership, Jeremiah, we had a really good conversation yesterday and went through a lot of the process together yesterday. But obviously with the fact that we're playing a championship game, they were respectful of times. We had a great conversation, and then came back to work and had a staff meeting focused on UNLV. So respect, and that's really about where I'm going to leave it right now. But we had a great conversation yesterday with them, together on about myself and the vision for this program, if that's where they want to go with. And then I came back and led this team. So that's where we're at.
So is that a formal interview then?
Would you call that an interview, Spencer?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
No, it was. Yeah, like I said, I'll be open with you guys that it was. And at the end of the day, that's where we left it. And I'm excited for this week.
What is your vision? And, I mean, not that you need to share what you said yesterday, but what is your vision for this program?
Yeah, Mike, I really want to focus on the fact that this week is about our players winning a championship. It's about this team and their pursuit for everything they've been through to go win a championship. So Mike, I promise you guys, we will get to that. God's works in mysterious ways. If this is where this goes, I trust Him, and I'm fired up for the opportunity. But this week is about our players. This week is about them winning a championship, and whatever happens after that, I'll be very excited to have a lot of those conversations with you guys.
Lots of coaches are leaving right now, and you see the residual effect of that. A lot of players going into the transfer portal. Indiana's lost 9 in the first 24 hours. Since this change has happened, you've lost 0. As a matter of fact, you picked up 1, a punter from San Diego State. So go behind the scenes. How much of that is happening organically, and how much are you trying to be proactive to make sure that this is happening?
I think a little bit of both, Mike, because at the end of the day, how we take care of and treat our players, motivate them, obviously hold them to a high standard. But when you hold someone to a high standard, if they know they're developing and becoming the best version of themselves, they want to show up every day. Although it's hard, they know it's helping them, so they're going to stay put, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it together. And that's the biggest thing we focus on. Instead of, so it's both. We're trying to be proactive with our guys, but every single day we're building into them. We're holding them to a high standard, but then they're seeing themselves get better. They're seeing themselves make more plays on the field. They're seeing themselves grow not only as a football player, but as a man. And so they want to be a part of that. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of conversations that I have to be proactive with our team when they're asking, Coach, what's going on with the head coach search? What's going on with blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell them exactly the same thing I tell you guys. Guys, right now, no decision's been made. Our focus is UNLV. Our focus is whatever it is. And what I'm extremely proud of is them being able to keep that focus here. Because you better believe, Mike, these guys are getting pulled at in a ton of directions. If it's not only their family, their high school coach, other coach, that is the reality, because of the fact that this is where we're at. Especially a lot of our players that have played a lot. That's just the reality of college football. And so them being able to push away the outside noise, focus on the here and now, I'm so proud of our players doing that. And so from our coaches to our players to our leadership, proactive in the fact that we're coaching them hard, we're holding the high standard, but we're having a smile on our face, because you can do that. That's the way it should be when you're working your tail off to do something great together. And these players want to be a part of that. And so nobody leaving is a testament to them.
One more quick follow-up on the coaching search. Do you have any plans to meet anybody else this week, or is it 100% Vegas on one side of Saturday?
It's 100% Vegas on Saturday.
No other plans?
No other plans, not one bit.
What about UNLV? As you watch them, I'm sure you're gonna delve in a lot more.
Yeah.
What sticks out? Why are they here? What do they do best?
Mm-hmm. I mean, guys, they're very balanced in all three phases. They do a great job. Obviously, they're getting a lot of pub of what they've done offensively, and they deserve it. I mean, they're the number one offense in our conference in almost all offensive categories. They deserve that. They've got a talented young quarterback. They got a bunch of tailbacks. They got a receiver that I think is one of the leading receivers in the entire country. And then special teams wise, they will be on the attack. I mean, they got a dynamic punt returner that's also one of their best receivers, number 21. So he's going to be an issue that we got to make sure we're dealing with on two of those phases. And then defensively, you talk about a defense that is on the attack. I mean, they create takeaways. They're creating a lot of different looks pre and post snap. So from different stems to different pressures, coming in and out of 3 and 4 down structures. Obviously, Coach Odom's done it at a high level for a long time, and their defense plays with a chip on their shoulder, and I respect how they play defensively. So across the board, they're going to find ways to attack you, and they're in this game for a reason. And they've only had one loss at home, and it was last weekend. And so we know it's going to be a tough place, a tough environment, but we know Bronco Nation's going to travel well and be there as well, and so we're fired up for the opportunity.
Gatorade bass, crowd surfing. I mean, it seems this program just means the world to you, and if you got it, it'd probably be the highlight of your life. How much fun have you been having these last couple weeks, Spencer?
Guys, I've had an absolute blast, and like I said, I don't say that, and not just because we've won these games, and obviously that's a big part. I'm not going to be crazy and tell you it's not, but being able to be around these young men, be around the staff, and help lead them to continue to work their tail off to accomplish something like I believe we're going to. It just brings me so much joy. And once again, I thank Jesus every day for the opportunity to be here, to be around these players, and just to have an opportunity to impact them. And more than anything, an opportunity for them to impact me. Because I promise you, it is 12:15 in Boise, Idaho, and there's going to be 2 or 3 players that impact me again coming through the halls at some point today, because that's how it happens every single day. Tomorrow when we practice, when I see their smile on their face when they walk in and they're excited to go out to practice and work their tail off to go win a championship, it touches my heart every time. And I can promise them that they're going to get my best, they're going to get the staff's best. So there's a lot of moments through this process that have brought me a lot of joy, but I think holistically, just being able to be around this group and see them blot out the outside, push away the outside noise, focus on each other, focus on what matters and what we can impact now, and they've done that. And I'm a firm believer that's going to change their life in the future too.
Are these 2 weeks the highlight of your career? So in your coaching career, like, are these 2 weeks? Is this the most
It's close. It's definitely close. I mean, obviously throughout for me, the highlights of my coaching career are not just what happens on the field. And like we've talked about that, I don't think I will ever say that. I will never talk about my success as strictly wins and losses. My success is what these players 5-10 years down the road are doing. Them becoming elite husbands, fathers, like that to me success for me. So, but in regards to some of the joy that I've had with this team and the moments we've had together, they are moments that I've had these 2 weeks that I will never forget as long as I live.
Have you reached out to anyone to kind of get advice for leading this program? Sorry, Jay.
Oh, a ton of people, Ron. I mean, just, and we can go, from Coach Peterson to Dirk Cutter to, I can keep going, Bronco Mendenhall, a lot of people that have just even been head coaches that I've known, reach out, even a text, just because I know what I don't know. And I want to be intentional to make sure the product these players have is the best. And how we're leading them, how we're doing it, I want it to be on the cutting edge. I want to be on the attack. And I want to make sure that I'm reaching out to everybody I can find to make sure we're doing it the right way. And I see it, I'm a firm believer. I want to be that way until the Lord puts me 6 feet under. I want to be that 85-year-old guy that brings his notebook and is taking notes everywhere he goes, because you should always be on the attack. You should always want to find and learn something from someone. I think the second you feel you've got it figured out, you are caught slipping. And I don't care what profession you're in. That's just how I believe. I think you always got to be relentless to grow and learn and improve, regardless how successful you are or not. And that's really my mentality.
With one more about the coaching search. Jeremiah Dickey, when he announced for the interim, he said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you'll become a head coach. He reiterated that on our pregame show on Saturday. Chris Peterson on Fox, I don't know if you saw it or not, but he essentially said something very, very similar about you. How do you prove that when has arrived when you're no longer worrying about the if?
Yeah, no, and Jay, that's a great question. And through this whole process, right? Obviously, we've talked about how much these players, this place mean to my heart, and how much I feel called here, right? I legitimately feel called to this place, these kids, this community. But my focus from the second that I was named the interim coach was 100% focused on this team and us finishing this the right way. I had communication with our players that grown men finish what they start. We're going to do this together. And so that has been my focus. It truly, from my heart, has not been to prove that I'm ready to be a head coach. It has been to focus on these players and finish what they started as a senior group and as the 2023 Broncos. That's been my focus. If that is enough, if that proves that I am ready to who needs that, then that fires me up and I'm ready for it. If it doesn't, then God's got other plans. But my focus is this team. And so I do not wake up every day and trying to be somebody I'm not, trying to do something that someone will look at and approve of. I'm doing everything that I'm passionate about in my heart, in my soul, that is going to put these players in the best possible situation on and off the field. Because that is me. That's my motivation. That's my passion, is these young men. And I'm a firm believer that will create greatness not only in their lives but on the football field, and excited to do that.
But when you hear that praise and you hear the players' response, the love they give you, I mean, and the success, I mean, do you feel like you've done enough though, like to be warranted for this job, be considered?
We'll find out.
All right.
We'll find. I mean, that guy, because that's really, and I'm telling you this, that is where my mindset is.
Okay.
I trust Jeremiah fully. I trust the good Lord fully, and my focus this week is on this game and on these seniors. Because once again, I've had great conversations about the job. I come in here and I look at DJ Schramm, Riley Smith, Dimitri Washington, Garrett Kerr, and George Halani, Ben, and I'm like, I promise you there's no stone unturned. There's nothing I won't do for you and us winning this game, because you guys deserve it. That's my focus. That's what and whatever happens after that, if that proves what needs to be proved, that's awesome. But that's my focus, because that's why I coach, is to be able to impact these young men and give them everything. Fail, learn from, grow from it, grab that in life. That's the only reason I coach, to impact them and make them champions. Because like we talked about a couple weeks ago, I want every single one of our players to be world changers. That's success for me. 10 years from now, when I see all these guys being great husbands, fathers, business leaders, NFL football players, and doing it the right way, that is success. And I'm a firm believer, you create elite men, football takes care of itself. You'll win a lot of games, a lot of big-time games with that group.
Spencer, kind of an off-the-wall, non-coach related question. Just kind of thought I had this week while watching the game. We've talked a lot about JFR. We've talked a lot about Jonah Dalmas, but they don't do their job if the long snapper can't get the ball. We haven't talked about Mason Hutton once this year. What does he bring to the team, and just kind of what's the consistency to have someone who can get your special teams guys the ball?
100%. It is one of those positions we joke about is you won't know his name until what? He screws it up, right? That's the reality of the position usually. And Mace does a great job. Once again, how he practices every day, how he's dialed in, because it is one shot. You don't got any reads. Oh, bad one. Let me get that ball one more time in game. Like, you got one shot. And he is on point every single time. And not only is he on point with it, but especially in regards to our punting. I mean, he's one of the first ones down, too. So it's not just the snap itself. It's him going to cover some of these monster punts that James has, which he does have some monster punts, and he deserves all the credit that he's getting. But there's a lot of people around him, not only Mason, but especially our punt unit in regards to covering these kicks to be able to get the net yardage that he's getting.
What kind of skill set, or what exactly do you look at when you try to determine who's going to be a long snapper?
That's a great question. I know it has become its own kind of recruiting, almost like quarterback recruiting, where they've got their own camps and different things where you can go. It's the same for specialists. So in regards to punters, kickers, and long snappers. So from coaching to looking at, a lot of times, more times than not, long snappers are longer limbed so that they can create that velocity that Mace does, which Mason is. But it's a skill set that you work on. It's not something that all of a sudden you walk out to the practice field and say, hey, I want to try long snapping today. It's something he's worked on consistently. And so how on point he is with his long snaps comes from practice, comes from time. And he's been on point this season, and we need every bit of it.
Spencer, Bush Hamden, obviously a high-level FBS offensive coordinator. I think that's been proven this
Yes.
year. He said
Yes.
he wants to be a head coach sometime too.
Mm-hmm.
Should he be considered for this gig, if not other gigs? And how are you and Bush handling that? He doesn't know if he's going to be here next year.
Yeah. I think the world of Bush Hamden, and we've said that before. I mean, not only just in regards to who he is as an offensive coordinator, but who he is also as a staff member and as a teammate to me. We've obviously been through a lot together. Didn't really know Bush a lot until he got hired here last January, and we've grown very close. I think the world of not only, like I said, who he is as a person, but who he is as an offensive mind. And he's been able to create and be on the attack this year offensively, even with some of the injuries and things that have happened. I think the world of what Bush has done. And whatever that turns out to be for Bush, head coach here, somewhere else, I support and thank the world of Bush Hamden and always will.
You mentioned talking to Bronco Mendenhall about the job. I mean, how do you know him and what's your relationship with him?
Just over the years, being able to, you know, there's for me, I am that guy that if I find your number through the process, I'm gonna probably bug you about something, because I'm gonna try, and if it's a scheme, if it's something with leadership impacting kids. So me and Bronco were able to get to know each other 3 or 4 years ago, talking through personnel. There was one of their coaches we were talking to from a job standpoint, and we just became friends. We don't talk all the time, but he just became a guy that I really respect how he's handled this profession, how he handled it as a head coach. And like I said, don't know him extremely well, but have a ton of respect for him. And so it's always been a great resource for me in regards just to picking his brain about leadership and coaching and just how to handle some certain situations.
You mentioned a list of coaches that you turned to for advice. Was there a common thread in the advice they gave you?
The common thread was, Spencer, be yourself. That would be the common thread. Be yourself. Spencer, we know you, your passion, your love for these kids, your energy. Be you. Never change for anybody. Be you. That would be there would be other things in it, but the common thread was that, Spencer, never change. Be you.
You mentioned UNLV's offense, but you hadn't really talked about the defense yet. But what did you maybe see that, especially after that San Jose game where they give a lot of yards on the ground, you have great running backs, like what kind of things do you see from their defense?
Yeah, so defensively, like I was talking about earlier, is they're able to create a lot of confusion with their front. So they'll base a lot out of a 3-down look, but they've got a couple linebackers, like number 7 in particular, makes tackles all over the football field. He'll make tackles in the wind back in the C gap. They might blitz him through one of the A's or B's. So I respect how they show you one picture and then post-snap able to change it quickly. They've got some good DBs that can cover, but I like their mentality they play with. They play with an attack mindset. They've got some good max drops, but then, like I said, they've got no problem coming and getting you as well, and they've got the DBs to cover. So, but obviously we saw what San Jose State was able to do, and just like anything defensively, I know they're going to find ways to get those maybe misfits, things fixed. So we know they'll be ready.
How impressed have you been with the growth of Andrew Simpson this season? I mean, he's playing in a cast. He seems like he makes a big impact in every play, and he's got the leadership. It seems like not too many sophomores can do what he can do.
I'm glad you asked about Andrew, because he is a guy that I love coaching, love being around, and I'm so excited about his future. I mean, we're talking about a redshirt sophomore that played a couple games last year because of guys getting banged up, played a lot towards the end of the year, came in as the starter, got banged up against Washington, kind of really hurt his ankle. And ever since coming back from that, not only has he broke his hand and had some other things, but you talk about a guy that has been on the attack he's got over 15, I think, tackles for loss. Him and Ahmed together have over 30 tackles for loss. He's got sacks. We put him everywhere on the football field. Good luck trying to find where number 10 is. I mean, he's on the edge, he's on one side of the field, he's on the other. So that takes a lot of prep. It takes a lot of time. And that's where he has grown a ton this year. He's always been a savvy football player. He's always been a great blitzer, a great rusher, and has a good knack for finding the football. But where he's grown a lot this year, and I give DJ Schramm a lot of credit as the senior in that room, is the prep time it takes to have confidence and play the way he is. The other thing that I love about Drew is this young man wants to make every play. He's that guy that will be frustrated if they're running the ball the other way. If he's covering a guy, he'll maybe show like he's open just so he can jump the route. He wants to make every play, and you love that mentality. And we've been able to really fine-tune it this year, and he's made a ton of plays. I mean, even on Friday, you talk about a couple big-time TFLs and even a sack that he was able to chase down from the backside. He's just playing extremely hard. And like we talked about, the biggest difference probably the past couple weeks as a whole team is Number 10 is on the attack. Like, and you watch it, he's not perfect. There's still a lot of things that I'm excited for him to grow in, and we talked about it together yesterday. But my man is on the attack, and he's going to continue to be that way. And he was in here Saturday watching UNLV film. He'll be ready to go.
Ashton's touchdown, 75-yarder. What role did the linemen kind of play in that? I mean, those guys were 20, 30 yards downfield in their
Yeah, no question.
To help spring that thing.
Ashton Genty deserves every single thing he's getting right now, and more. Who also deserves a ton of credit is our offensive line. And it's always the unsung hero for the running backs or the quarterback who's not getting touched, throwing the touchdowns. But our offensive line, you talk about a group that Coach Keene, Coach Potter, from a run game and a pass protection standpoint, have done a great job with. They show up to work every day. They put their hard hat on, and they practice their tail off. And all they do every week is just absolutely create and impose their will on a defensive line. And not even a defensive line, it's the secondary as well. Because there's guys 25, 30 yards downfield booking it because of these plays that these tailbacks that they're able to create for them. And they don't ask for any credit. They're not looking for anything. They care about this team. They care about their teammates. And it chokes me up talking about, because you talk about the humility that takes. That's uncommon. That's hard for people to have that humility, and they have it. And they are relentless to improve. Once again, they had a meeting earlier today on UNLV and getting a jump on them, Jay. That's this group. And they will be ready Saturday, and they deserve a ton of credit. So do Ashton, so does George. But that group deserves a ton of credit.
How long was your interview with Jeremiah?
Guys, a lot of those specifics I'm gonna keep. I just want you guys to be aware of the process, and it was a great talk. But a lot of those specifics I'm gonna keep to myself right now.
I know we ask you about Ahmed almost every week, but he's having such a great season that it seems warranted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know you could see that he was a great athlete when you were recruiting him. I know you knew his brother, but he was so raw when he first got here. What was it that made you confident that he was going to be a successful player?
His mentality. You talk about a young, and obviously there was an athletic skill set he had. Explosive, big, strong, had a really good idea of those prior to him coming here. But when a young man is, first off, grateful for everything they're given. Like we've talked about here before, the first time Ahmed got a protein shake, it was like I gave him $1 million. It was like, can I get one of these after every workout? I'm like, you can get 2 if you want. And it was like, oh man, Coach D is the best thing ever, right? I think from that night on, he's like, I love you forever. That's my guy. But he's grateful for everything he earns in everything, in all facets of his life. And so little by little, day by day, week by week, you just know he's going to develop. He's got a great skill set. He's tall, he's explosive, he's strong. So it's not like that was just something that we created here. He had that. But our strength staff and our coach have done a great job developing him. He's always had that mentality where he wants to and will put the work in to be great. Because there's a big difference between wanting to be great and earning that every single day. Ahmed earns it every single day. You guys come out to practice tomorrow on Tuesday. My man, like we talked about, has tape on almost every joint of his body because of how many plays he's played and how violent he plays this game. But he will practice no different. The way you see him practice tomorrow is the same way you saw him play on Friday. Will be the same way you see him play on Saturday afternoon. He deserves all the recognition, and Mohamed's best football is in front of him. I think he's one of the best defensive players in the entire conference, if not on the West Coast.
Seems like he's improved so much from the start of the season till now.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm somebody looking at it from the other team's side, what would I look at and see the biggest difference between, say, week 12 to week 1?
I think just the consistency from him. Or to start this season, there was maybe 1 or 2 plays in a game that you would see him kind of jump out at you. He's always played has always played with a relentless motor, been on the attack. But there's been some times early in the season where some of the big time plays you're seeing consistently was not showing up as much. Now they're showing up almost every drive, because if you don't find a way to deal with him, he's going to create a negative play for you, pass or run. And that's when you know you're operating at a high level as a defensive end. When they have to have an answer for him. And whatever that is, it looks different from the team we play, but UNLV is going to have to find an answer for him because of what he has proven to do consistently. And Ahmed deserves that. The recognition he's going to get because of that, Ahmed deserves. And once again, his best football is in front of him. and I think he's one of the best players on the West Coast.
He was good last year, but he's great this year. I mean, can you pinpoint the moment when things kind of started to click for him? Was there a moment in practice that you saw, or maybe a meeting or anything like that?
I don't know if it's one moment, Ron, because just like anything, we're a developmental program. And our goal is to find young men with a certain skill set, physically and mentally, that we can develop. And then all of a sudden, 1 or 2 years, everyone's like, where'd you get this Ahmed guy from? Or where'd this guy? That's what we do. We develop these guys, and then they become not only champions and elite football players on the field, they become great citizens and students off it. Ahmed's no different. Ahmed came here with a lot of great skill sets in regards to athletically, but he had never really played a lot of football. I mean, he's come in here from really 1 year of football, if you count COVID. So it's going to take some time, and we knew that. We knew, though, that the sky was the limit for him because he's going to be the first one here in the building every day, one of the last one to leave. He's always going to have a smile on his face no matter what, and he was going to develop consistently. That looks different for everybody. Sometimes it might take a year, sometimes it may take 2 years, but every player in this entire building is developing. Every coach in this building, me included, is developing. That's what we work our tail off to do every single day, every week. And so last year, Ahmed was exactly where he was supposed to be because he was still working his tail off to improve. Had a great offseason, had a great summer, a great fall camp, started the season, and every week has what? Gotten better. And that's the same way he's going to be to finish the season. The same offseason he's going to have from January, February, same spring ball, and he's going to keep getting, I promise you, game 1 of 2024 will be the best game he's played.
Spencer, if you had any individual on a higher tackling grade than what Alexander Tubner did on...
No.
Yeah.
Nope. Alex Tubner's been lights out tackling, and he has eliminated some big time plays that could have shown up. And it's not just last week now, Jay. I mean, we pull up the Utah State film. He had a couple monster tackles that if he doesn't get them down, those are big time runs. And a guy that, similar to some of these other guys we're talking about, doesn't want any credit. He needs zero motivation from me. He looks at me, he's like, Coach, I got him. We're going to go get this thing done. Let's roll. That's who he is. And a guy that is relentless to improve and grow. He has the absolute respect of his teammates because he's earned it. Not because he's talked about it, because he's earned it. And then he goes out in the field and proves it every single day. Had some big-time tackles on Friday, Jay, and we needed every single one of those. We're going to need even more of them on Saturday coming up.
I was a little skeptical if we'd see DJ at close to what DJ has been before it's because of the injuries, but it seems like DJ's getting a little closer to what we've seen him at his peak. What do you think of the way DJ played?
DJ had his best game this season, especially since being injured. His best game this season Friday. And a guy that on a short week plays every snap the week before, on a short week, fighting his tail off, living in the training room. You guys think I'm joking here. He might have a sleeping bag in there because of how much he cares about this place and wants to be healthy, and goes out and does what he does on Friday because he loves his teammates. And him in particular was a guy that when we were going through the senior day, like I almost couldn't even look at him just because how much he's given to me, how much he's given to his teammates. Very emotional for me. So I told him, like, hey, if I don't say anything to you, it's not because I can barely speak, because of how much I absolutely adore that young man because of how he's touched me and how he's touched his teammates.
Sure, Spencer, James Ferguson Reynolds, he might find out if he gets to go to the award show, if you would accompany him, how the situation would work.
Yeah.
Also, maybe Ashton Genty is going to get Mountain West Player of the Year, offensive tomorrow. Just all that stuff going on. Just your thoughts. I'm sure you're excited about your guys.
Oh, so our guys deserve every bit of it. Once again, like we talked about to start, there was a lot of reasons for our team to become frayed, for people to start looking for the door. Nobody in this building did that. And so the recognition these guys are getting, they deserve every bit of it. And I'll be one of the first set and more. Like James absolutely deserves to be in the finalist and have a shot to earn that award. He deserves every bit of it. Ashton Genty, same. And even more awards. Like that's how I feel about these guys. Once again, I watch them every day. I see the work they put in. And I watch a lot of football across the country. And seeing a couple of these guys get these awards, they deserve every bit of it. And some. And that's my opinion.
Anything else?
More,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jaden Virgin, blast from the past, like, might be just because he rocks his old college number, but physique-wise and stuff, he reminds me almost of like a young Tyrone Crawford there too. Is that an okay comp, bad comp, and what continues for him to show up on film each and every week?
I think it's a close one, Jay. I really do agree with you, but same, a redshirt freshman that maybe not from a production standpoint that you would look at on a stat sheet, but played his best game on Friday, Jaden Virgin. Wasn't maybe the TFLs or the sacks that he's gotten prior, but what we asked him to do defensively, what we asked him to do as a team, he worked his tail off to do that. And there was a lot of situations against a triple option attack where that is not easy. And a young redshirt freshman doing that consistently for his teammates, I saw him after the game and I told him those exact things, and I mean it. I think it was his best game he's played all season, and his best football is in front of him as well.
Anything else? All right, thank you.